So I'm Deborah Boggs. I'm CEO of DNS Executive Career Management, and we work with senior leaders to prepare for and navigate their high-level searches. And a lot of times that means people in career transitions, right? We work with everything from choosing a direction for what's next, building your standout executive resume, elevating your digital profile on LinkedIn, your job search strategy, how you're going to market, your interview prep, especially if you have a difficult circumstance to convey in interviews, and then compensation negotiation to make sure you maximize that final offer. So I see some people popping in here. Hello from Alabama, San Juan, Puerto Rico, Indianapolis, great, Portland, Maine. Carmen Poff is on here. She is our director of client success, and I know she's also a Brittney superfan. Michelle, Carmen, and I are all fangirls for Brittney, so I'm so excited for this conversation. Oh, Naples, North Carolina, great. So we'll go ahead and get started. So why are we talking to Brittney Ezell today? It is because she has an absolutely unbelievable story about career resilience and reinvention to share with you all. She's a keynote speaker on this topic and many other topics. And honestly, and I don't think I've said this to her face yet, but she is my North Star on what leadership should look like and what humanity should look like out in the world. And I just cannot tell you how much I respect her. So she's here to tell her story. She went, I'll just do a quick overview. She went from being a well-known record-breaking Division I basketball coach, 20 years in basketball coaching, very public career transition, we'll call it, and then has really moved into this new space of she's now a CEO at a Keller Williams market in Johnson City with 200 plus agents. And she's the executive vice president of a startup, E3, which does entertainment and ticketing experiences. So Brittney, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Anything for you. You know that. Anything. I could probably hang up after that compliment, so I could just probably leave. So we're good.
Well, too bad. You're not allowed. We have a half an hour.
Fair.
And so tell us, let's set the stage. We met in 2021. I think we were just talking off stage about that.
We did.
Let's talk about where you were then.
Where was I when we first met? I think I told you in passing, I was probably laying on the floor with a pint of ice cream and probably a fifth of Jack Daniels laying around because I am in Tennessee just trying to figure out what I was going to do next. But mentally, I was just in a dark place trying to figure out kind of what to do next. And I wouldn't call you my North Star. I tell everybody all the time, you're my Jiminy Cricket. So you're my truth teller, my soothsayer, and you just spoke life back into someone who felt like their career had just kind of died on the vine. So I was in a tough place, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. I'm so grateful for that hurt. It was the best, and it was good for me. And kind of helped me realign not just my professional career, but what I really want out of life and how impactful I can be. So it was weird, but it was cool at the same time. So let's just say I was a beautiful mess at that time. How about that?
A beautiful mess. We'll take it. And so let's talk a little bit about, this career transition for you was unexpected and not something that you had the opportunity to plan for or think about ahead of time. So let's talk a little bit about how that felt. You don't have to go into all the details, but how that felt, and then we'll talk about kind of where you're at now and how you got there.
Yeah, how did it feel? You feel very blindsided. You feel very small. You feel like you weren't valued at all, and I think what it really kind of did to me was remind me of where my loyalties need to lie with people and not places. And always kind of reminding me that everything ends badly. Otherwise, it's not going to end. I mean, it's just true.
This is so true.
Anybody that tells me they had a good breakup, I'm like, you are such a liar. And you'll be calling them in 2 hours. Like, it's fine. I just want to be friends. I don't want to be friends. Like, just break it off. So it was just one of those things that you never expect it to happen to you. You never expect to be 20 years along in a certain career path, feeling like, okay, I'm settled, I'm good, I'm stable. And then all of a sudden you get hit with this and you don't know where to turn. And with me being very public, as you alluded to, I mean, not too many people that are watching this call have ever been let go and it, scroll across the ticker on ESPN. Like, it's not fun. It's not. But
Very public.
Yeah, very public, very hard to swallow. But what it does is it really reveals a lot to you. It reveals who your friends are. It reveals who was never your friend in the first place. But it also really reveals this level of protection that is always around you. And it's just letting you know that what's meant for you is not going to miss you. And that wasn't meant for me anymore. And there were days, Deborah, honestly, I was like, how am I going to get through today? This is embarrassing. I don't even want to go to the grocery store. I can't wait to go to the grocery store and tell everybody how different my life is, or just walk in with my shoulders back and say, I was broken for a moment, but all the pretty parts have been put back together. And I think that was the interesting thing about it. That was really cool.
I love this point about, you're at this place where you don't want to walk into the grocery store, and now you're excited to see everyone. And I know we talked a little bit offline, but my, words I like to live by, I always tell my kids things like that, is the best revenge is living well, right? Holding your head high, walking into the room, being in a better place, showing that this didn't break you, that this made you stronger, that you're still moving on is so incredibly important. And I'd love to know, let's talk a little bit about your philosophy on rejection, because I think, especially for job seekers, it's so incredibly important to hear if you're in the middle of it and you're in that place where you're just, not sure what's next.
Yeah. When you're in the middle of it, you feel like you're never going to get through it. But like we were talking about, you've made it through all the worst days of your life and you're fine. And everything will be okay. And if it's not okay, that just means there's more to your journey than you're even realizing. It will be okay, I promise. And I know you're looking at the screen going, this idiot. No, I promise. I promise. And my philosophy on it is every rejection reveals protection. And it is just a redirection to something that was intended for you. And every breakdown that you have is going to lead to a breakthrough, whether it's emotionally, mentally, physically. And I had to athleticize it in my brain because that's where my world was. If I wanted to get stronger, I had to break down my muscle. If I wanted to lift heavier weights, I had to break down my muscle in order to build it up stronger. So it's, you're really breaking to build in a bunch of different ways every day. And believe it or not, I try to find ways that break me down a little bit, whether it's my train of thought, whether it's something that I thought I knew that ultimately I was ignorant about, whether it's physically, spiritually, emotionally. I want something that breaks me just a little bit so that I can put it back together and see where all the broken parts fit, and I can get stronger because I've glued it back together. So that matters to me. And, walking in the grocery store when I was coaching, people noticed what was in your cart. You got donuts, you got beer, what do you got?
Well, you just described my cart, by the way.
I think that was yesterday. Like I was buying in bulk. So, but now when I walk in, I'm like, I hope they look in my cart. And I hope when they see the donuts and the beer and the Gatorade and the salad, that they know that I'm all those things. And we all are. At any given time, we are all going through a breakdown, a breakthrough. We're supporting somebody, somebody's supporting us. We're all going through it. And it's really the best part about being human is that we have this common experience all the time. All the time. And just not to be too simple about it, but I was just holding on until it got better. It really was. And it got better. It got better. I mean, and it really started, truthfully, Deborah, when I met you. It got better. It got better.
So happy to hear that, just from, not only from a business standpoint, but a humanity standpoint, that you're feeling better and that you did the work, you did the hard work you needed to do to say, okay, I can't go back into what I was doing. What is next? You did the hard work of wallowing in the pain for a minute. And I always tell people, when they call me, if they got laid off that day, I always say, we're not starting anything. You need, as long as someone has the ability to take some time. I know that's not an option for everyone, but if you've got the ability to take some time, you have to. You got to sit with that for a minute. Yeah.
Well, you have to sit with it and you have to own it because you had a little bit of involvement in it, whether you want to recognize it or not. So I call it, you're going to do an autopsy on your career right there.
Right.
And don't make an excuse for why part of it died. I recognize that there were things I could have done better that might have prevented that heartache for me. But man, I'm so glad that I went through that heartache because now I'm better for it.
Right.
Could I have gone back into coaching, and was I offered other coaching jobs? Absolutely. And still get them to this day. I don't want it anymore.
Mm.
And what I thought I wanted is so far from where I am now that I look back sometimes and I'm like, thank God I didn't take another coaching job. Thank God that I was told, hey, you can't be here, you can't coach here anymore. And thank God I found people in my life, you included, that said, you have a bunch of transferable skills
Mm-hmm.
and you can do a bunch of different things. So stop letting the stuff you can't do affect the stuff that you can, and just go. Go try it. Go fail forward, fail fast, fail on your face, and get up and try it again, because my belief wholeheartedly is that failure is not the opposite of success. It is the integral part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do not fail at all, you cannot be a success in anything that you do.
Right.
So just sit with it. Sit with it.
It's so incredibly true. You know, the clients that we work with are typically senior leaders that have built amazing careers. You know, they've gotten promoted, recruited, found opportunities through the network, and they've never had to go to market at this level.
Right.
And sometimes that's a career change, and sometimes it's not. But either way, they don't feel equipped to do it at this level because they've never had to. And this does feel like a failure. They go from the top of their companies, top of their organizations, and now they're at a place where they don't know what's next. They're ill-equipped to really tell their story. What is their story? You know, if your identity is wrapped up in your job, which is not necessarily it's not a bad thing. Everyone feels that way, you know, especially senior leaders. You're high achievers for a reason.
Yeah.
And now you're just you, just in quotes. And what does that look like? And so let's talk about that a little bit. You did an amazing job of doing that hard work to think about, okay, your skills differently. You went through the process with us. And that's one of the things that is so important. You know, we do an introduction call with all potential clients. And part of that reason is because we want to make sure a potential client is willing to do that hard work to get to where they need to be. It's a collaborative process.
Yeah.
Can't do it alone. And so what does that look like in terms of, you know, thinking through your experience, trusting your team, going through the search process when it feels hard? What does that look like?
Well, I think it's recognizing again that you have to find your team, and you've got to put your team together that's going to do all of those things, that allows you the space to just show up whatever that day looks like. I mean, everybody gives me the whole nonsense. Oh, I'm going to come in and give 110%. Well, if you're giving 110%, why don't you give 120 and 130? Because there's no such thing. You be goof. Like, you can give 100%, and your 100% looks different every day. Some days it's going to be different. Just give me your best, no matter what your best look like. And that's what I tried to do every day with you guys. And just listening to you guys, or really watching you guys kind of hold a mirror up to me and say, look at this. You've done this. You have these capabilities. Do you even recognize that these skills can move? And the answer, 99% of the time was, what? No. And then you're challenging me to tell my story. I'm like, you want me to lie? Like, what do you tell me? What? Like, what are you talking about? My story? Well, what you were really saying is, Brittney, take your career path and the things that you've done, and show me what you want your legacy to be, is what it was. And, for me, people always think legacy is something that I've left for you. I've left you land. I've left you money. No. My legacy has to be something I've left in you. What's in your heart that I left? Mm-hmm. What did I help create that you can pass on that really matters? And what impact did I have with the platforms that I was given? And sometimes I took that for granted. You guys just held up a really big mirror that I had to wipe off every day and look at differently and be like, oh, wow, get a haircut. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing today? Because you were given a lot of gifts, and I didn't want to just be stagnant and disrespect the people that believed in me and that supported me and that helped me develop those gifts. So you guys were you held up a mirror, and you walked hand in hand with me. And on days that it was hard together. And there were certain calls, Deborah, that we didn't even talk about work. We just laughed about nonsense. And sometimes I need that too, and we all do, because none of us are getting out of this alive. So we might as well laugh at it.
So true. And I love your point about legacy, and I'd like to talk about that for a moment because, so I invited Brittney up to give a keynote presentation for the Maine Women's Conference a couple of years ago. She was absolutely fantastic, blew the crowd away. But one of the takeaways that Carmen and I still talk about to this day, and for those of you that don't know Carmen, she's our director of client success. Actually,
my girl, that's my girl. Yeah.
If you're interested in learning what it's like to work with us, options to help you through your job search, Carmen is the person to talk to. She'll pop her link in the chat. But anyway, so she and I were at that presentation, and you had said, your trophies are really your past players and what they're doing in the world now and how they're showing up in the world and how, your time with them impacted them into the way that they're, able to do what they do now. And Carmen and I, our takeaway is that that's so true for us in our firm too, is our trophies are the leaders that are back out there making an impact in the world. They're back in the seats they need to be in. They're making a difference in their communities with their families and their work. And that's something that we think about and talk about all the time.
I love that. I have walking trophies.
Yep.
I have walking trophies all over the world. And, I used to say it a lot. I have no idea what my win-loss record was as a coach, but I know what my graduation rate was and which one really mattered. I value those walking trophies. I know I've got kids now that are doctors. I've got kids now that are teachers and, that are moms or married or, traveling the world. And I just watch those things and I'm like, I helped.
Mm-hmm.
It all goes back to, I was an athlete my entire life. I was born into an athletic family, and we always believed in team and carrying your weight and accountability. And I like being a small part of something bigger. And I genuinely believe in that kind of mudita philosophy and finding joy in the success of others. So that really kind of helped keep me motivated in that I could help a lot of people do better, be better, want better, if I would just get out of my own way and stop wallowing in self-pity. Lord help it. Just get out of the way and stop. So it was, it was a moment of aha. You really just kind of have that epiphany, like, God dang, you're doing all the things you try to encourage people not to do. And, you get advice. Oh, Deborah, people came out of the woodwork to give me advice. And I'm like, honey, I don't call you when things are going good. What makes you think I'm going to call you when something's going bad?
Yes. Think about the people that give you advice and whether it's warranted. My husband, so nothing makes my husband crazier than unsolicited advice. It's actually his biggest pet peeve. And he says he treats unsolicited advice like junk mail. It came in the mail. You didn't ask for it. It may be helpful in the rare cases. Great. Keep it. Otherwise, it can go straight in the trash.
Oh, yeah. And everybody wants to give it to you. They do. They want to give you advice. Here's what I need you to do. Give me a little bit of encouragement. Give me some flowers while I can smell them. Mm-hmm. Because when I was coaching, I had a bunch of critics with no credentials. A bunch. You couldn't do what I did. You didn't have the credentials that I had, but by God, you had an opinion of everything I did, said, wore, walked in. You didn't care. So I just learned real quick, like, there's a ton of critics in the world, tons. And that's such a cheap seat. Right. It's such a cheap seat. So I've tried to be better about being more of an encourager and a crown straightener and a reminder that your signature strengths, your gifts are uniquely yours. Don't ask me for directions on the roadmap that's in your heart. I can't see it. Mm-hmm. Don't ask me directions, but I can remind you that it's there.
Right. It's so important. And so I want to talk a little bit about your move into where you're at now, because you could have done the easy thing. You could have done the safe thing, or the thing that I'm sure a lot of people thought you needed to do or should go do. And that's to go back into coaching. You were offered some opportunities. You had the easy path, but instead you took a CEO job in a totally new industry.
Yeah.
Just talk about a transition. And so I'm going to pause real quick, and I want to talk about that transition here. But real quick, for anyone who's in this right now or thinks this may be coming up, you may have a layoff coming up, or you think something may be going on. I want to offer this layoff preparation guide for some things that you can do to get ahead of it. To help you, put you in a position of power and a position of strength. So I'm going to pull this up for a moment and leave it up here for just a second while I tee Brittney up to talk about what that transition looked like. Tell us about that process, where it came from, and how you're doing today.
Yeah, we can do that. I kind of like the QR code being in front of my face. It gives me an opportunity to fix my teeth and my hair and make sure I'm good. So I appreciate
Sorry,
it.
it's down now.
No, you're good. So the transition happened really kind of organically, and it was based on my network and the proximity of the really good people around me that were checking in on me. The ticketing company started first. I started working with a guy that I went to college with that was a college athlete at Alabama as well, who was involved in the ticketing world his entire career. And he was starting a new venture right during COVID. And it's called Elite Entertainment Experiences. It's a ticket concierge service that Corey, Dr. Corey Gibbs is my business partner on this. He graduated from Wharton and got his PhD by writing a proprietary analytics suite of the predictive nature of tickets. Okay. That means nothing to me. But I like going to concerts and I like blogging. And so he could teach me. So I learned all that. And then the opportunity that I'm currently in with Keller Williams. So I'm the CEO, team leader at Keller Williams in Johnson City, Tennessee, Tri-Cities area, which is the extreme northeast corner of Tennessee. We serve that area. We serve Southwest Virginia. And we serve Western North Carolina. That opportunity came from a dear friend named Ryan McKinney, who was in this role prior to me and was looking for a transition of his own to go into more of the selling aspect of real estate with his wife, who they now are our top producing team, and just crushing it, But he and Sarah McKinney's wife, they're like family, always have been. They were season ticket holders when I was coaching. They helped me buy my first 2 homes here in the area.
Oh, wow.
And, so when he was getting ready to transition out of the role, we talked a little bit and he said, you should apply. Okay, cool. So I applied and did the interview for 2 days. And I did not answer them for 4 weeks. How about patience on that one, Deborah, which is surprising to me because in those 4 weeks, I went to the Keller Williams convention. I met with the president of KWRI. I asked a lot of questions. And I took classes to obtain my real estate license because I wanted to know what I was getting into. I did.
So important, making a transition. What does that look like?
I wanted to have some validity when I was going in and talking to people. I wanted to say, yeah, I understand, been there a little bit. But it just showed up to me like it was an opportunity to serve people. It was an opportunity to give back to a community that was really good to me. And the Keller Williams culture resonated and aligned. And that was the big thing that I was looking for.
Yeah.
Do the people that I'm going to go work with, work for, work alongside, do they align with who I am as a human? And are they going to allow me space to grow and get better? Or am I going to feel suffocated again? And the answer was go grow. And I did. And it has just really taken off. And we've grown leaps and bounds here. I've had opportunities now with the Keller Williams Sports and Entertainment Division, all over North America. We're in 57 plus foreign countries. I've done referrals for professional athletes and entertainers all over the world. And I'm actually able to give back to college athletics. So it's a lot in a little bit of time, but I enjoy it. I do. This is the first time in a long time, Deborah, that I could actually wake up and say, I really enjoy it. And I'm not worried all day and I'm not stressed all day. And my paycheck isn't contingent upon the behavior of 15, 18 to 22-year-old girls. My God.
That literally sounds like a nightmare.
It was. You learn to hate holidays and celebrations because somebody's going to do something you're going to get a phone call about. And you're going, for the love of God, what are you doing, sweet girl? What are you doing? But I still pull for them. I still pull for my coaching friends. I still watch games and support them. I just don't have to live and die with every win or loss. So
and this you can still stay involved in the industry, connected to your friends, things like that. And I'd like to back up. So you had a major career transition to make, and it was possible because you fostered a really strong network. Yeah. I mean, one of your opportunities coming from someone you went to college with, one coming from someone that knew you in one space, and you were able to make that transition to they could recognize in you what you could bring to another space. And I think that's so incredibly important. It's absolutely essential for someone making a big career shift to either have or build a network, because these opportunities you're not going to be able to apply online. Had you applied online cold to the CEO role in real estate, they would have literally laughed.
Yes. Yes.
And instead, you have the opportunity to come in, as the recommendation from the outgoing CEO, and that's just everything.
Yeah. Well, and take these flowers too, Deborah. It's because my network, we say it a lot, your network is your net worth. It is. And those relationships matter, and you need to foster them through good and bad. But I was prepared.
Right.
I was prepared, and you guys helped me prepare. You guys were kind of my personal trainers in that professional space. I could lean on you and say, if I do this, what does this look like? If I say this, what does this look like? Help me craft this in the right way, and help me tailor all of the skills I've got to fit this role. Like I didn't want to try to fit a, square peg into a round hole. I want to make sure that it was a good fit and it was right. And when you and I talked about it, you were like, oh, this fits. Like, this is what
This is right.
This is what you get to do. So when people hear that I transitioned from athletics to real estate, they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, take that out of it. Here's what I really did is I moved from coaching people here to coaching people here. I moved from supporting people here and supporting people here, educating people, empowering people, growing. It's all the same. It is absolutely all the same, regardless of the space. So move from finance to, restaurateur. You can move all of these things because everything boils down to, in my opinion, everything boils down to relationships and communication. Can you do those things at a high level? And if so, you can learn anything. You can learn anything, but do you communicate at a high level? Do you foster solid relationships? Do you build them? Do they matter to you? Do you show up for people? You'll be fine. You'll be fine. But I had to learn to show up for me first. And I had quit doing that. And I had really just kind of started putting the needs of my job ahead of my needs. And my job's not showing up when I die. But one of those walking trophies hopefully says something nice. That's what I had to keep.
Sure it will. I can't imagine.
Just one thing. One thing. But
you're right. Your job's not showing up at your funeral.
Yeah.
That's so incredibly important. And I know we're coming up on time. I'm just going to pause real quick. For any of you in a job search, maybe you're struggling through a job search or thinking about starting one, we do also have another tool. The job search diagnostic will help you think through the 7 areas that, that Brittney has alluded to be really ready for that search or to uncover some roadblocks that may be standing in your way. So I'm going to pop this up. And while we do that, I'd also love to hear from our audience what tip was meant for you today. What advice, what kernel of truth from Brittney was meant for you today? What is helpful? What is going to help you carry on through your search? I would love to hear that in the comments. And if anyone has any last minute questions for Brittney. But as we do that, Brittney, tell me what, I know you talked a little bit about offline about that self-talk, that conversation we're having in our heads. Let's talk a little bit about that. When it comes to, the question I would have for you is what advice do you have for someone going through their transition? You've had a really great answer to that.
Yeah, I definitely am not equipped to give you advice, but I can give you encouragement. And making sure that you're not just talking to yourself, but you're listening to yourself. Because sometimes the things that we say to ourselves in our private, most dark moments, we would never say to a stranger. Yeah. We would never say to somebody that we love. And you have to recognize that and stop sometimes and say, stop talking to yourself like that. Right. Listen to yourself. And, you're the most important conversation you're going to have every day. And I've told you a million times before, Deborah, I get up in the morning, the first thing I do is I laugh because I'm about to deal with some nonsense today. And I'm about to be told something that's going to irritate me and I can't change it. And I'm going to make mistakes today that I'm going to just bang my head against a wall. But I got to learn to just take everything in stride and just be grateful for it. I think the biggest thing I take out of it, I can't give you advice, guys. I really can't. I can give you encouragement and I can give you little nuggets that help get me through. I am grateful for my pain. I absolutely grateful for that I went through because it was momentary compared to the long stretch of impact and love that I'm going to have the rest of my life. And had I not gone through that, and this is going to sound silly and it's going to sound like a shameless plug, but had I not gone through that, I'd have never met Deborah. I'd have never met Carmen. I'd have never met Michelle. I'd have never been able to go to Maine and be a keynote speaker and tell everybody I'm from away. I'm not from Maine. You know, I got lobster rolls. I'm just thrilled. I got to see all the lighthouses and meet incredible people that I consider friends and colleagues now. Those things matter. So my rejection to redirection revealed my protection, but more importantly, it put people in my world that needed to be there. And I needed that. So there's my encouragement. Hang in there. Hang in there. And call me. I'll laugh with it. I'll laugh with you. I'll talk you through it. I'll be your guide on the side so Deborah can be the sage on the stage for you.
I love that, the sage on the stage. So tell us, oh God, I could talk to you all day, and I think people could get value from this conversation all day long. But tell us where we can find you. You know, you do a lot of videos, a lot of posts about, you know, a lot of other podcasts, things like that on your philosophies on leadership. So tell us where we can find you, where we can follow along.
Yeah, well, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm on there quite a bit. You can connect with me on Instagram if you like. It's just at Brittney Ezell, spelling as it is on the screen. And if anybody contacts you, Deborah, or they do the, you know, they do the prep and they want to get involved and they want to speak to me directly, you are completely empowered to give them my cell phone number, email address, whatever they need. Yeah, I'd be honored to help anybody that's watching, or, you know, any shares, whatever you need. Happy to. I'm still a point guard at heart, and point guards spend their life chasing assists. So I'm happy to assist.
I love that so much. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you and appreciate this conversation. Thank you for joining us today. And I know it's going to add a lot of value for a lot of people in the middle of it. So.
Absolutely. And it's just the middle, not the end. You'll get there. Deborah, I am honored. I adore you and your staff. And I will never, no matter how many calls you ask me to get on, podcasts you want me to do, I will never be able to thank you enough for showing up in my life. So thank you. Thank you.